Hey, Rise and Shine Seattle, what's going on? Welcome to Morning Cup of Kraken. Glad to have you along. The third installment this year. It's Halloween week, right? Sasquatch NHL. Thanks for being here, you guys, on this Saturday morning. Pretty nice weather start here in Seattle. Got a special game day edition for you guys. Coming to you live tonight. The Seattle Kraken continue the homestand, about to play their 10th game this season, facing Sidney Crosby and the Pittsburgh Penguins. So, guys, grab your coffee. Another routine here. It's your tea, your frappuccino, your double French press, maybe even your pumpkin spice latte. It's not really my jam, but if it is yours, more power to you. Let's settle in. Let's chill for this live edition of Morning Cup of Kraken. I'm going to catch you guys up on everything going on with the Kraken. Hope you get your weekend started right. Like I said, not too bad of a start weather-wise outside. It looks a little nicer than it was when I headed over the game on Thursday. But glad to have you guys along. My name's Mike, Sasquatch NHL. A reminder, if you want to hit that like button, it does help out the stream. Hit subscribe. I got the podcast rolling. Go follow, rate on your favorite podcast app. And of course, while you're watching here on YouTube, make sure you comment in the chat. Hit the poll question there. Nothing too crazy. Just asking, what do you think? Is Greer going to be out long term or coming back, sooner than later? But, however you're listening, watching, whatever, just glad you guys are here. Let me know in the comments where you're listening from. Always like to see where people are checking in from in the roll call. But yeah, really grateful for your support. Today's edition, Morning Cup of Kraken, we've got a good guest along for the ride, all the way from the East Coast, checking in from Florida. Our friend Nick Krell, I'm going to bring him on screen right now. The official Kraken and Tampa Bay Lightning correspondent for Inside the Rink. Great resource for all your hockey content. Nick, welcome to the show. How you doing this morning?
Doing great. Feeling good. Good to see you, man.
Yeah. How's the weather down there compared to here?
It's pretty nice. It's been very sunny, a little breeze there. The humidity kind of kills it, but it's good, Can't complain. It's Florida,
Well,
Yeah.
So we're pleased to have you along here. We'll take a little roll call in the chat here. We got, looks like Brian Kinnicott logged in saying, looking forward to sharing a cup of Joe with you, Mike and Nick. Gregory saying, what's up? How you doing there, Gregory? Good to see you too. Jim C logging in. He's our double French press guy, and I hope he's got that rolling this morning because that's how I get woke up. A little coffee, go outside, see what's going on, and then I usually hop on Twitter, check all the craziness going on with hockey there. But glad to have you along, Nick. If you want to give us maybe just a little bit of your background story. How long have you been covering hockey with Inside the Rink there?
Yeah, I've been covering with Inside the Rink for, I think, about exactly a year now. It was late October that I reached out to them. They were looking for writers, and I just kind of started talking, and a year later, here we are. It's been great. Shout out to Connor and Andrew and all those guys. Genuinely a great team. Super, super fun, loyal, dedicated team, and it's definitely go check them out. I know we have the handle there, the Twitter handle. Be sure to check us out. It's always fun, very interesting stuff, and our podcast network is great too. Yeah,
I'm gonna be sure I update the description here with links to Inside the Rink and Nick's handle and all those great things. So check that out here while you're watching or listening later on. Again, great to have you guys along. Joshua looks like he just checked in. He's also East Coast. I think he's from Virginia, if I'm not mistaken. But Joshua kind of chiming in and saying, hopefully Grubauer isn't out for too long. We could use him back in the lineup. And we'll talk about this a little bit when we get into some of the discussions on the Kraken. But yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting here as we go forward. But Nick, also just wanted to talk a little bit about how did you originally get into hockey as a kid? I always like to ask people that question as we get rolling.
So what if for question? I think for me it was definitely my own kind of like interest. I remember I was born here in Florida. Parents divorced, and I moved up north with my mom and my dad, my stepdad, but I call him dad. I think they're watching from Europe, so shout out, hi mom and dad. and my siblings too. But so yeah, they we moved up to Connecticut first, Greenwich, Connecticut. We were there for about like 8 years or so. And I moved to like the New Hampshire, Vermont area for a couple of years, and
Mhm.
that's when I really got into hockey. I had a friend, Ryan Finley, who worked. His family catered the Dartmouth men's hockey team. So one day, like it was like eighth grade, he's like, "You want to come to a game?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, sounds fun." And
Yeah.
that's where it all started. So and I kind of dabbled in it like there. The time that I was there, I definitely watched a lot of games and went to a lot of games and all that. And but still didn't fully dive into it yet. I played soccer growing up most of my life, so really had my focus on that. And then a couple of years ago, I think maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I was like, you know what? Let me pick an NHL team and let's get into this thing, and
Yeah.
yeah.
And so you've
So
been covering Tampa Bay for a little while. I know that. And now you're kind of covering the Kraken that just started off this past late summer, fall, right? So
yeah.
any challenges in covering two teams? It probably cuts down the amount of time you have to do other things, I would imagine.
Oh, for sure. No, definitely. It's a challenge, but I welcome it. But it's fun. It's fun, and it's as someone who's trying to really grow as a sports in sports journalism and journalism in general, it's good to have that challenge and kind of try to do more than one team. And I am, as you guys can see, a Bruins fan as well. Sticker
Right.
somewhere there, but so I can't cover the Bruins much. We have plenty of coverage there from inside the rink, very good coverage. But
Our, fr-
I dabble when I can, and then it's fun.
our friend Jim C down in the chat, he's also a big Bruins guy. So you guys have that in common.
Oh,
And
what's up, Jim?
we like to
That's
banter a
awesome.
lot on Twitter. So go give him a follow. They also do a podcast, Kraken Fancast. We just did a little crossover last week. Great guys, great show. So check
Nice,
that out, by the way. So
definitely will.
let's get into it here. Let's talk a little bit about the Kraken. And it's been pretty crazy on the internet, at least on Twitter the last couple of weeks. So let's just jump right into it. Why tiptoe around it? We've got everybody talking, everybody asking. Shane Wright, what's the plan? Why is he a healthy scratch? Does he need to go back to the OHL, or maybe have his rights negotiated somewhere else? Or is the world going to end? Are they ruining him? All these questions coming in. So I just kind of wanted to first, and also an article came out yesterday from the Kraken and Allison Lucan. Really great article, gave some more insight. But I kind of wanted to get your thoughts here before we talk, too far into this discussion. Where are you at with the Shane Wright situation?
Well, personally, I'm a huge Shane Wright fan in terms of as a person and as a player too. Like but love the way, from what I've heard from Kraken fans, and they had the chance to meet him at at the community ice complex. It's he's super nice, and he's very humble, especially for that age to be held that high up in the draft. Some people can take it one way or another, but I think he's taking it very well. A great mindset. But it's interesting because I would like to see him getting more ice time, but you also got to remember that he's being treated like any other player. Any other
Yeah.
player that's not what Haxtell or the coaching staff think they need for that night. They're going to give him a healthy scratch, and sometimes it's going to be some of our favorite players. So, or Shane Wright. And yes, it is his first season in the NHL. Yes, he was our fourth overall draft. I understand there's big expectations there, but I also don't think that he should be sent down. Personally, I think he needs to be there, and to you want to give them that fighting spirit and that competitiveness with having him just kind of being around the team. It's going to push him more to elevate his game, just being there and fighting for that roster spot. If you send him back down, he's just going to dominate, and that's not the reality. I mean, nothing against the OHL, but it's definitely not the NHL. And to send him
Right.
back
Yeah.
down there, I think would be a disservice to him and his growth and development. Because would you rather have him, getting a lot of points in the OHL or getting NHL experience, whether it's on the ice or just being there fighting for a roster spot and
Mm-hmm.
understanding uh, the importance of having that roster spot. And once you finally get it, kind of like look at the Yanni Gord story. I use that as a really good example. It took him, how many years to get into the actual league, and you still see him now. He's a starter, and he still fights every game like it's his first game or his last. And I understand the frustration with some fans, but I think this is the right way to go. It's not perfect, but I think it's going to work in the long term.
Well, and great point on Yanni Gord. What a great place to be, being able to learn directly from him, and maybe have that experience shared, and they can kind of, learn from each other in those ways. With Matt or with Shane Wright coming up, and gonna go through this a little bit. It sounds like they're gonna take their time a little bit, but Yanni Gord, a great leader. I kind of expected him to be named captain. It didn't happen. That's okay, but he's still, a huge leader on the team, and I think Shane can definitely learn from what he went through, like you're saying there. But in some of those things, I don't have any direct quotes prepared, but I read through that article yesterday, and it doesn't sound like they're in a hurry. I don't think they should be, right? They've got that 9-game. Once he plays in 9 games, and they have to make a decision, but they can stretch that out. And I think, like you're saying, they're having these roster decisions. And let's switch over here, look at the roster real quick. Now, this is the lineup card from the last game, but they've got decisions every game, right? And before I get too far, there was a shout out here from London for you, C. Krell. Yes. So I just wanted to take a moment there because that's cool. All the way from London.
That's my mom. Yeah.
And I gave you the hi, Mom, back there. That's awesome. So thanks for joining the stream. So let's talk a little bit more about the roster here. And with that in mind, they've got time here to kind of stretch this out. And like you're saying, let him learn, develop in the background a little bit, get some ice time when he's able. I know we all want more for him, but I think we just have to be patient. That's kind of my take on it. Sounds like we're pretty much on the same page, but here's a look, right? We've got those scratches, Donato, Wright, and Fleury from the last game. Maybe a triggering point is going to be when Donskoy comes off of IR. Is that something you're keeping your eye on once the logjam gets a little bit worse?
It's definitely something I think, we have to keep an eye on it. And what would we do? Because I don't know. I look at our lineup and it's very, very solid, I think. Especially with the new offseason additions. I loved what we did there with Bjorkstrand and Burakovsky. Like it was the right decision for sure. Obviously at some point, Drieger and Grubauer are going to be coming back. But until then, the immediate decision of Wright and Donskoy, it's going to be interesting to see how they play that out. I don't know what you think. If you think, Donskoy might be sent down or the other way around, Wright or somebody else, maybe.
Yeah, I really don't know. It's not like Donskoy, he wasn't great, right? Last year he wasn't great. I know he's more of a defensive forward, but he wasn't scoring. And I think that they are definitely emphasizing scoring from their depth lines this year. So I don't know. And this is kind of the whole factor with, Ron Francis definitely plays the cards very close, right? So I'm not sure what's going to happen. Something has to happen, though, because you can't have that many forwards in this group. Maybe they make a move at some point. The other thing I was going to point out, and maybe if you want to chime in on this, if you are going to make a move, wouldn't you rather have it be with one of your assets that's not Shane Wright, right? So that you can actually make that person or that player tradable. Because I would argue that a few of the Kraken forwards last year got to the point where they weren't really tradable. So it's like, Donskoy maybe is in that category. But you don't. That's the other thing. If you're going to showcase other guys to make a maneuver because you have to some point, December or later on, whenever that happens, you've got to have them in the lineup and playing, or people aren't going to be interested in that asset. Does that make sense?
No, 1,000%. I'm in full agreement there. I wonder who that would be, but I agree that, I would, whether it is Donskoy or somebody else, we do need to showcase them a little bit more. And naturally the Shane Wright situation gives room for that, having him kind of learning the ropes and earning his roster spot is going to take time. And I did read that the right way, the
Yeah.
article there.
Yeah, that's
That
right.
wonderful piece, a wonderful piece. But and I see that. I see why they're going to take their time with it. I see that. I understand that. So then it's interesting then who to pick out of the lineup. And I think you can make arguments for, like you said, a couple of people, but I don't think there's a definitive answer just yet. That's going to
Yeah.
come with time, and it'll be interesting to see how that is taken care of for sure.
And again, right, this is going to be the 10th game of the season. So for, the people that are extremely impatient and wanting something to happen now, I think you're just going to have to wait. Honestly, I think that's probably the best thing overall for Seattle. I'm not going to question whether or not they're developing him properly because I have no idea what's going on behind the scenes and all the conversations. So I think it's good to be up with the professionals, seeing how everything's working, getting the extra practice time. And Hackstall's even said he wants to get him more minutes. So situationally, if the team can stay disciplined, and maybe they start trying him out on some of the special team situations, which we'll kind of talk about here. But yeah, we'll just have to see what happens. I think we'll benefit from some patience, right?
I agreed 1,000%. It's going to take some time, and we can speculate as much as we want, and I know Twitter definitely does that, but we're just gonna have to wait and see, like you said. So, yeah.
So, kind of the next thing I wanted to move to here, obviously we've kind of talked about the forward depth. Bjorkstrand, Burakovsky have looked fantastic to start the year. Matty Beniers looks like, potential Calder candidate. You had some thoughts as well on Matty B, if you want to share those with everyone. We were talking before the stream.
Yeah. Look, I absolutely love Matty Beniers. It's his first full season. And he's taken that really well. He's really carried the team. He's got, I want to get the exact numbers here, but don't know why they're, hold one moment here.
It's all right. I'm just popping up a couple of comments to people checking in. Josh from Virginia said he's waiting for Brian to make the trip up to watch the Kraken beat Ovechkin. Brian said that'd be fun. We also had Gregory. Looks like he's from Virginia as well. Nice. What else we got?
It's pretty cool.
Jim sees Josh Sand to Jim. I've seen many Bruins games back when I was in Massachusetts for law school. Oh, nice. Awesome. Stevie Y and Yager sweaters. All right, so yeah, getting back to what you were trying to find a stat. It sounded like I was trying to give you just a little time there, but I don't know.
So I got him. So I know he's got. I found it. I think we're good. Yeah, he's got. So I know he's got. I think 4 goals or a goal in the last 4 games. Or is that correct? He's got a 4-game scoring streak. Yeah, and he's got 3 assists. Yeah, for a total of 7 points. He's really outdone himself, I think, for a lot of these Jack Hugheses, these overall picks that usually their first season is not. It's kind of shaky, and that's understandable, of course. And I know Beniers had a little time last season to get acquainted, but I still don't think it was enough in the sense of. For the numbers that he's putting up, the plays that he's making, the way he is playing, he's carrying himself like a seasoned vet. Yeah. And for a rookie to be doing that this early on in their career and this early on in the season is amazing. And I think it needs to be said that, bear with me here, Kraken fans, but in a way, I feel like Matty Beniers is leading by example in the scoring and the offensive opportunities, and even for some of the vets. And I think that it's a great thing, but I think a lot of other players need to step up. Yanni Gord, love him to death. My favorite Kraken player by far. But I want to see him, a little more apples or goals there. The new guys, Bjorky and Burakovsky, are looking amazing, but we gotta get those actual points on the board. So, but I love that Matty Beniers is leading by example as a rookie. I think it's huge.
Pretty incredible.
Yeah. honestly, it's amazing. And I love him, love the kid. He's doing amazing. So
I think
yeah,
early on with Jared McCann, taking that injury to the face, and then like you're saying, Yanni Gord maybe needing a little time to kind of ramp up here. But one point that came up, and my buddy Ty Jacobs brought this up. They've had 16 players score goals. A couple of the other outlets pointed this out too. So they are getting a good variety of scoring across the roster. But yeah, like you're saying, some of the other guys that usually do score haven't really broke through yet. Eberle maybe in that camp a little bit as well, but
yep.
I think they're going to keep ramping up here, and I do like the offense so far. Just a couple more comments I want to point out here as we keep rolling. We've got Misha Krell from Portugal giving you a shout out as you were chatting there, saying, "Hey Nick, so thanks for logging in into the stream here, guys. If you are new, appreciate it if you want to hit the subscribe button or hit the like button. That helps the stream so people can come watch Nick here more often. We'll do this as often as we can." Striatic logging in. Good to see you too. Says Shane Wright needs to start getting shots on goal. He's really been lacking in that department, even for a defensive center. And that's a good point. And then maybe it's an emphasis area the coaching staff is looking for, even in his limited ice time, right?
Oh, 1,000%. He's, I mean, in any situation, you got to get shots on net. Whether they lead to rebounds or actual goals, or you got to put that pressure on the goaltender. Yeah, but I think that might also be due to confidence. You got to give them a little more confidence to actually execute that. And I mean, but I also would say that not only Shane Wright, but a lot of players need to kind of not be afraid to pull the trigger. Really quickly though, Misha is my little brother, so when I say hi, little bro, I love you. Um, but yeah, I definitely like watching the power play, the special teams the other night against Vancouver. We need to really take those shots. Be an aggressive power play. You want to move around the point and all that, and I 1,000% think that's the way to go. But if you're moving around the point, there has to be an eventual shot. You can't just keep moving it and moving it and moving it, and then lead to a turnover. Like in the Canucks game, they got a shorthanded off of one of those plays. So I think everybody kind of needs to step up there and take those shots. But yeah, I agree. Shane Wright, it might be more for him as a confidence thing. Other players that are been playing the league for a while, I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. I believe is a good example, by the way.
I saw that comment down there from Gregory. Gregory also checking in from Seattle. He said he was from Virginia originally, but now is in Seattle. So again, Gregory, thanks for logging in. He kind of echoed there. I can definitely see Eberle being traded if he starts scoring. So again, that's that. You need him in the lineup and performing to make them valuable chips to move. But I don't know. Team performance wise, just in general, it kind of feels like some of those earlier games that they gave away, right? The 2 steps forward, 2 steps backward. I kind of mentioned this on other streams, but maybe what's kind of your idea for progress this year for Seattle to manage expectations just a little bit? What is a successful year in your mind, Nick?
I think I personally before the season started watching preseason games. I think the Kraken can make the playoffs. Maybe in a wild card spot, or I think they are capable of doing it. Is it a high kind of tall and mighty task to put on them? Probably, but I think they're capable of doing it. And if not, just seeing definitely an improvement from last season, seeing a more coalition in terms of how the players are working together, and obviously, I know we have the very obvious goaltending and defensive issues, if you will. But I would also say offense. I'd like to see more consistency and in-depth scoring there. I think that's the way to go. Just seeing that, I think seeing more production from offense, more production from defense, and just kind of the consistent, solid goaltending would be I think the ideal season, and then making the playoffs would be just the icing on the cake. I think, to give you an example, to use the Bruins, Olmark and Swayman are. That's what I would like to see Drieger and Grubauer, kind of become. It's that you can switch either one, put them in goal, and you're still going to get a very solid goaltending performance. And I'd like us, the Kraken to be able to do that, to have two goalies where if we need be, we can easily intertwine one or the other, and they know, and it's just as consistent as the night before or whatnot. And you know, I like that. I like what the Bruins are doing with that approach. I know, like for example, teams like the Lightning usually have the main and then a backup, but Drieger and Grubauer don't seem like that kind of pairing that you would make one a starter and one a backup. I think you're going to alternate them. I think that was the plan last season.
Yeah.
We'd really like to see that season kind of come to fruition. So
yeah. If Drieger, can come back and be healthy and, kind of find that consistency again, it's hard coming off of a knee injury like that for a goalie. And that was kind of next year in the list as far as topics we wanted to cover anyways. Just the injuries, obviously a major concern. Martin Jones now and Joey going to have to hold down the fort a little bit until we get Grew back. And I don't know. Jones has his moments, but he's been okay. He definitely feels like he's a little more chill and net than he was towards his, the end of his tenure in San Jose. But I don't know, maybe just a little bit more with the goalies. Obviously, it's going to be tough. Definitely the team's going to have to step up in Grew's absence. But what's your feelings there, Nick?
No, I definitely agree. Grubauer is a big loss right now. Hopefully it's not too long, but I know we have the poll running. I don't know if I can give my opinion on that, but
yeah, it's at 60-40 right now. So people think he's coming back within a week. 40% say out long term.
I think he's out long term, and not because I want to.
Right.
Right here. I don't know if he's visible on the camera, but
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, he's there on top of the pucks. But so I don't want him to be out long term. But I did see I don't know if it was a tweet or a press release, an article, something. Somebody said that they were concerned with the way they were handling Grubauer's situation. It doesn't seem like it's short term. It doesn't seem like it's going to be a week. Maybe it's a couple weeks max, but definitely not in the next week. Now, if he comes back in the next week, I'd love that. But hopefully, with the idea that they're not putting him in too soon, they're not rushing his recovery because of the goaltending need that we have right now. You never want to see that, and yeah.
Especially with a groin type of injury, if that's what it is, I think that's widely speculated. That's what it is. You can't rush that as a goalie. Let's take a few comments here because I've got some good ones coming in today. And maybe, Nick, if you kind of want to respond. This first one from Ty,
for sure,
my buddy here. Shout out to Ty, big contributor here on the channel, a great friend. We go to a lot of games together, but he's saying you don't want to go into, if you do make the playoffs, you don't want to go into the playoffs this year with our goaltending situation. I just hope we are playing meaningful games and progressing.
I agree. I think, for us to make the playoffs, like I said, it would just be I would say it'd be just a nice kind of little feat to be there. I don't think we would, realistically, I don't think we would make it very far, but at least just to be there, I think would be a big morale boost for the team, management, the fans, the city. So that's why that was my take, but I definitely agree with you, Ty. We would have to take care of that goaltending situation if we want to make an in-depth run or just kind of really be very present there. We look at Nashville against Colorado, they made it, but they were swept in the first round. So, and that, I guess right now, that's what if we were to make the playoffs, that's maybe something we'd be looking at, which wouldn't be the best. But definitely agree that the goaltending situation has to be taken care of. Now, how that happens, we'll have to see,
Yeah, just kind of let it play out. Hopefully they can get through this stretch with Grew gone to injury, and hopefully he comes back sooner than later. Here's one from Brian Kennicott. Also got to meet him. He's an East Coast guy, Carolina fan and Kraken fan. So he's saying, as far as the forwards go, 67. So Geeky, Kuhlman, and Spronger there are on the scratch rotisserie. I love that phrase, scratch rotisserie. I'm going to start using that. Yeah. Plug and play with, when Donskoy comes back, he's 72, Shane Wright, and Donato. That's until TDL. Ebbs might be dealt if he heats up. So yeah, Eberle kind of on that potential list.
Chopping block. Yeah.
I don't know. I've heard maybe Winberg too, but I don't know about him. I think they like him, and maybe he's trending up. I'm not sure.
I think Wenberg is. I don't think it'd be smart to let him go just yet. What he did with the Panthers, and I got to see it firsthand here, being in Florida. I usually go to a Panthers game as an away fan. Whether it's the Lightning or Bruins or now Kraken that are in town. But
Hmm.
uh, I think Wenberg might be a little too much. I don't know. I would wait, but Ebbs, I can definitely see that happening with. He kind of gives me he kind of reminds me of our old captain, Giordano here, where he's like
Hmm.
he's kind of a vet. He can still produce, maybe not at the level that we need, and that we can maybe get someone better for that. But he is a nice trade. He's someone that would look good on it with the bow and a ribbon if they can get their production up.
Yeah.
As for Spronger, I agree. Spronger was an interesting move last season that unfortunately did not pay off. I think the way that the fans and team expected it to.
Right.
Uh, and Coleman, yeah, definitely can see that. I thought he was going to be in the chopping block this offseason, so I was a little surprised when he came back. Shout out to former Bruins legend Coleman, but I'm just messing there. But I can see that Geeky. I don't know. I don't know. Geeky's an interesting one. I
Yeah.
feel like he could kind of be a wild card there and come out of nowhere and surprise us all. But I don't know.
Well, some of that frustration kind of came up during the game interview there. So, talking about his job and maybe it was off the cuff. I'm not really sure, but yeah, maybe a situation to keep an eye on there. Sounded like maybe he's gonna be the one kind of rotating in and out with Shane Wright, but we'll see. Jim C with a comment here. Puck needs to be on stick in the shooting area to get that shot. 6 minutes, and this is a good point. 6 minutes won't get you many opportunities. One, look at time on ice to shot ratio down the box score. It shows that. So, Jim
It's a
definitely
very good
kind
point.
of, echoing that, yeah, he's got to get more shots like Striatic was asking for, but he's going to need more ice time to get it. And I don't disagree. So it's kind of this conundrum, right?
Yeah, you have to play him to get the experience. But if he's playing and not doing what he needs to do, then there's that immediate feeling of like, oh, I guess we have to healthy scratch him. And I don't. It's a weird little. It's like a weird loop there.
Yeah.
So,
Chicken and the
but it's a
egg type
very
of
great
deal.
point. Literally, that best way to say it there. But definitely agree with you, Jim, there on that take.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, we'll have to see. Like the Shane Wright situation, like we said earlier, we just gotta be patient and see how it plays out.
Well,
But
Nick, as a writer and hockey contributor for Inside the Rink, and for me, just fun content whenever I can type of person, it's always good to have something to talk about, right? And there's
for
definitely
sure.
no shortage of that so far. Brian pointing out if Gruby and Drieger get that post-win Selly hug down like Swayman and Olmark, Kraken fans will lose their minds. Yeah, it's fun to watch them do that
Oh, I
post game
love
and
that.
boss. Yeah, need
It's
that kind
I
of
just
stuff.
saw it. We finally saw it. My girlfriend and I went to Boston about a week ago, so we were there for Thursday night's game against the Ducks and got to witness that in person. And yeah, I
Yeah,
think any fan base would lose their minds if their goaltenders did that. So
yeah.
yeah, it'd be great. It would be great, honestly.
Joshua kind of echoing, saying, "Yeah, we need that in our lives. That would be epic." Ty again, kind of pointing out, yeah, the groin injury with the goalie is definitely scary, and you saw, yeah, they're just gonna have to be careful with it. I think. What
Yeah,
else do we
no,
got
I
here?
want to make sure that we take care of that correctly. There's been a lot of situations, not just goalies, but players in general being rushed into the lineup a little too quick. And, we want to watch out for that. For example, Brandon Carlo of the Boston Bruins recently he played last night. I think it was last night.
Hmm.
Um, and think he's on 3 or 4 concussions. I don't know if anybody from Inside the Rink or Bruins fans can fact check me on that. But concussions are a pretty serious thing. And he was only out for a handful of games.
Yeah,
And knowing he has a concussion history, it's scary. And I think it's it's a more broad topic to talk about, but addressing how the NHL and teams, how they address and handle serious injuries is it's a very important topic. I think that isn't discussed as much as it should be.
right.
So definitely want to make sure that Grubauer is not rushed back
Yeah.
to week. Like I would much rather have a 100% healthy Grubauer than
Yep.
have a 60% or 70% just because we need the goaltending presence. Then that should be the defense stepping up as well, if
Yeah.
anything, versus rushing in a recovery.
And rushing it is definitely going to, I think, cause additional injury if it is that type of lower body injury. It just
100%.
doesn't make any sense to rush in year 2 of expansion. But yeah, people get impatient. Becca Everts, thanks for logging into the stream again. Good to see you along, saying Winnie's line has been gelling, and we kind of are, we're feeling that here in the market. We see those top 6 forwards, pretty consistent rotation. Axtall has kind of been known for that line blender approach, but going back, I think 3-4 games now, those lines up top haven't really changed. Gregory kind of echoing. He thinks, if Winnie's kind of trending up here, he'll be traded next year. So I don't know, just those top 6 forwards, Nick, if you just kind of want to give us your thoughts there and the consistency so far.
I think I agree that there needs to be a little more consistency. Like I said, going back to Matty Beniers, I think he's the most consistent offensive player we have right now, and that's a pretty hot take. Yeah. But it's also a positive sign, because if Matty Beniers is doing it, then Yanni Gord, Oliver Bjorkstrand, Andre Burakovsky, Ryan Donato, Jordan Eberle, these guys can definitely pull their weight and do it as well. Mm-hmm. I think it's just a matter of time. I think we're hitting a little bit of a slow stride right now, slow start to the season, and fans tend to panic when that happens. Yeah. But let's not forget, it's our second season, and we do have a lot of new guys that already are contributing. Bjorkstrand and Burakovsky are definitely showing their worth. I think those are 2 of the greatest offseason moves I've seen in a long time. Yeah, personally, awesome. I love to see that. Oh yeah, 1,000%. But I do think we need a little more shoot first mentality. Mm-hmm. I think for the top 6 forwards, I haven't had a lot of that. I see a lot of people players looking for that. What's that perfect pass, that perfect move, and however, James Schwartz with that spinorama against the Canucks.
Great.
That's different. Yeah, that was beautiful. I replayed that, I think, a couple times here on the TV. I was like, wow. But you're not always going to get that. You're not always going to have that creative space to do that. Obviously, when you do and you take that, that's a quality player right there that can do that. James Schwartz. But I think we need to have that shoot first mentality. Look for those rebounds. We got to crash the net.
Well, you did see it with Vancouver. Like some of the goals that they scored the other night were they just kind of put it towards the net, and stuff happens, and it ended up in the net. Not the cleanest and most pretty goal in the world, but it was pretty effective for them the other night. And you've seen that in a couple of the other games. I think the Blackhawks game, a couple of those happened too. But
yes, yeah. We have to have that same mentality. I definitely think that would be the way to go.
Totally agree. Shots on net, it doesn't always have to be high quality, high danger, but I mean, that's obviously what you want. But a puck on net and a face-off in the offensive zone is never a bad deal. A few more comments here, and then we'll kind of keep rolling. Striatic kind of chiming back, saying, even accounting for time on ice, and I think this is in response to Jim's comment, Wright is dismal. Geeky has 5 shots in 58 minutes, including PK minutes. Wright has 1 shot in 34. So a good point there from Striatic. You definitely want to see a few more shots. And like we were just saying, right, maybe just put it on net to create a face-off. It doesn't have to be the glitzy highlight reel type of shot every single time. Of course,
I know. You want to get those offensive opportunities, because once we do, we can get it rolling from there. We got to start. We can't be starting always on our back end and going all the way across the ice. We need to get those offensive. And you're right. Yeah, getting a cover up is still better than getting a turnover or not shooting at all.
Right. Ty asking too if I'm going to. Ty, I don't know if I'm going tonight. It's TBD. So I'll talk to you after the stream here. But he's also mentioning, I think they need to have a setup similar to the Oilers on the top 6 when you need to bring that second line threat up and have a desperation line. It works very well for them. BS line. So Yeah, lots of ideas with the top six, and like you said, Nick, trying to get that additional kind of the depth scoring and continue to spread it out as we go through the season, right?
For sure. No, I definitely think that would be a nice idea though. I like the Oilers of the top six idea. Desperation line. It's kind of like the Lightning's infamous third line that Yanni Gord was a part of.
Hmm.
When you have that, when you need chances, you send out that pesky third line, and they'll create something, whether it's a goal or just pass through the team and create those offensive chances. It's not a bad idea. Obviously, we need a little more time to develop one of those lines, and it's not up to us to figure that out. But it's a pretty good idea. Nice, like Ty. Really like that take there.
Yeah.
Um, I wonder who that line would consist of. That would be a whole other kind of conversation there.
So
Who
he's
would
got,
you put in that threat line?
like you were saying, Bjorky, Matty, Burakovsky is super high threat. I think, and then
Oh
Gregor was
yeah,
calling it the Killer Bees. I think there's already a Killer Bees line nickname out there, but yeah,
yeah, but that's a pretty good. I think that's a pretty. Then they play together in the. I think it was the preseason. They played a game, and they were buzzing out there. The three
yeah,
of them together. So
definitely
not a
some
bad
looks they
idea.
can go to if they start to struggle or have some of the scoring dry up, right? So I think that's the other great thing with the depth is you can mix and match once you need to. Maybe not
Oh, of
as
course.
obsessively as Hackstall was doing last year, but you've got some options, right?
Yes. Yeah. No, I definitely wouldn't do it as much. Like you got to give him some time. I know we had a comment here scrolling up. Uh, Becca saying how Wendy's line has been gelling. I agree, and
Oh, right.
you need to let that kind of continue to flourish and gel and get them to work together. So I agree that Haxtell's approach of moving around too much. I hopefully that tones down the season a little bit, give some guys some time to work together, and if it's not working, then you can shake things up a little bit.
Yeah. Again, kind of re-highlighting Becca's comment there.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
Great comment. Yeah, definitely agree. Let them kind of all start to work together, find that chemistry, right? It's really important, I think, in hockey, but also be adaptable. So when you do need to change things up due to injury or just maybe you need a little bit of a different look. Let's kind of transition here, talk a little bit about the matchup tonight and the Penguins. If you guys want to keep leaving comments, I'm going to try to continue to take them here maybe after we talk about the Penguins just a little bit. But right, so we go in tonight. Penguins coming in. I think they lost last night, if I'm correct. You're very familiar with the East Coast coverage there. Mike Sullivan in the 8th season, right? And they ended up what was it, third in the Metropolitan Division, lost in the first round of the playoffs, but they dealt with a lot of injuries last year. So maybe this year, kind of a renaissance or a rebirth, if you will, with Sid and Gino being healthy. That's kind of the vibe we're hearing out west. Maybe your thoughts there with Sid the Kid.
For sure. I want to give a shout out real quick to the Art Penguins correspondent Nick Schermento. I hope I pronounced that right. He helped me with my notes and definitely give his articles a read. He's really killing it. Um, but in terms of with and with Crosby and Gino, is Crosby's looking as good as you would expect. He's looking pretty consistent and solid. He's got 11 points in 8 games, and it looks like he's gonna have another great season.
Yeah, good start.
Malkin's also definitely a great start, and knowing Sid the Kid, he'll probably keep that consistent. Malkin is also off to a great start with 8 points in 8 games as well. So it's awesome. It's awesome. And if they both can keep it up, I think the Penguins are going to have another solid season. And Nick Schermento definitely agrees. Think so.
Hmm.
In terms of their start, they've played very well until recently. He's saying that all of their losses and the one overtime loss have come at the hands of Canadian teams in Canada. So it's been their last 3 games, and they're 4-0-0 when facing American teams. So it's going to be interesting to see tonight and he's expecting a good game, and I think we all are. It's going to be a pretty good matchup.
Yeah,
McCann and Tanev will both be able to play against the Penguins. I'm not sure if somebody fact check me on this, and even you, Mike, but I think
yeah.
Did Tanev play against the Penguins last season, or was he already out?
Ooh,
But
I'm not
I'm
remembering. I don't.
I'm
I
not. I know
think.
he said hi to them, but
I think he
I
might
don't
have been
know if
out
he.
actually. Ty will remember. Hey Ty,
Yeah,
let us.
Ty. Yeah, fact check us on that
It's
because
because he's
McCann
younger.
definitely
He's
was.
younger than me. I'm too old to remember all this stuff. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's good. Yeah, but I don't. I think this will be Tanner's first time playing against his former team. I do know McCann definitely has. So, but that'll be interesting too. It'll be a nice little definitely a reunion for them.
Hmm.
Hopefully not too nice though. We need Tanev to produce. but
Yeah,
um, but the the main stars for the Penguins have been putting the puck in the net, and there's been a large depth playing a role here. So and they've scored 5+ goals in every win they've had so far. So definitely something to look out tonight is to see how the Kraken can respond to such a strong offense. Um, you know, it's a daunting task, but also I think we're capable of doing it. Just seeing how we do it. You know.
definitely need the play to be disciplined tonight too. You don't want to give them additional looks on the power play. We can look at their numbers here in just a second coming into the matchup, but yeah, decent start for the Penguins. It's always a tough division out there. It looked like Philly was on top right now, which was a little bit of a huh, but yeah, Crosby,
Yeah.
Malkin, Jake Gunsel. I think so. I wrote in my notes here Crosby had 35 goals last year despite the injury and COVID issues early. Malkin ended up with 36, Gunsel with 40. I mean, these guys are carrying them, obviously. So, maybe they need to find a little more depth scoring, some of the young guns, maybe some surprises in the lineup. I don't know if you want to chit chat about that. But I also kind of want to talk their goaltending too as we go into the matchup. I'll change the
Oh, for
matchup
sure.
screen, but kind of a look
Well, in
here.
terms of last season, just to add to that, um, Crosby were and Malkin were both out due to injuries, but Danton, Heinen, and Rodriguez both hit career highs and goals and points last season, respectively. And Jeff Carter put up the most points he's had in a few seasons. I think it was the highest since 2018 or 19, but we can look at that. And Yari proves himself to be a solid number one goalie.
Hmm.
So it was a pretty solid last season. Obviously, for Penguins fans, not what they would want or expect, but it was good. It was a solid. I think it's the way to describe it.
Yeah.
In terms of goaltending, though, moving forward, let's see.
Oh, Ty also said
Yari
he.
is.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there,
Oh,
but
my
Ty
bad.
said he
No, I'm
did
sorry.
not think that Tanev played. He's not seeing it in any of the media, and I'm not remembering
But
it either. So that's at least two of us, right?
thanks,
Uh,
Ty. I think they had a video though. The Kraken put a video of like Tanev meeting up with the former
yeah,
teammates and just chatting it
yeah.
up. But I wasn't sure though. I wasn't sure if he did that and then went out and played, or if it was just pregame talk and
Hmm.
Tanev was already out. But hold up. You have my notes here on goaltending. Yari has been very solid.
Yeah,
He's undefeated against American teams, but the Kane matchups have hurt his stats. He's got a 3.02 goals against average, and a 0.915 save percentage.
it's pretty good.
Uh, yeah, it's a pretty solid goaltending.
So last year too,
Something to look forward to.
he was pretty solid last year, sixth place overall in both of those categories you just pointed out. I've got written down. So
Wow.
I'm assuming. Well, maybe he isn't starting tonight just because it's a back to back, but um, yeah, they're going to rely on their goaltending a lot this year, right?
For sure. No, for sure. And Yari's definitely reliable in that sense. Trying to see here. I also have my notes. Yeah, so he did give up 5+ goals in both games that he played against Canadian teams recently. The last 2 games or 3 games, I think. So that's not exactly ideal. If like you said, we're not sure if he's starting tonight. If he is, this is exactly where I'd like to see the Kraken have that shoot first mentality
Hmm.
against this kind of goaltender. That you have to. The only way you're going to beat him is if you're getting those shots on net to get either rebound or create these chances.
Yeah,
So
put the pressure on them offensively, so you're not, trying to defend the whole night against Crosby and Gensel and
exactly. Oh yeah, you don't want
Gino.
to be defending against Crosby and Gensel there. Um, yeah, it's always pretty scary. And then Danton Heinen, like again, he's I was sad to see the Bruins let him go because I think he's a pretty good depth player. And I mean, he definitely is. He scored against the Lightning in our season opener last year
Okay.
during the banner raising, which is the Penguins rain in our parade, so that was a little sad, but the same time, it's we definitely have to keep an eye on that and keep these guys locked down defensively to stop those chances. Because even after Crosby and Malkin and Gino, you have the depth scoring that they have that we need to keep that in check as well.
Yeah.
And I agree. Stay out of the box. Stay out of the sin bin, please, because our PK has not been what we would like it to be.
Yeah, we're tied for 29th right now, so definitely an area they need to improve. Looks like
Yeah.
Wookie just logged in from the UK. Good to have you on the stream. Thanks for commenting and joining today. Appreciate it. Always great to have new people, especially from like overseas. That's the cool part about this, right, Nick? We can talk to people in our own market. We can talk to each other cross coast, and then even outside of America. That's why I like doing this kind of stuff, because it's cool to just get people's opinions and all the hot takes, all the cold takes. I provide a little bit of both of those, not as many of the hot takes, but yeah, pretty critical tonight. I think special teams, as it always is, it's going to come into play. The power play for the Kraken looking pretty good so far, 5th place overall in the league.
Yeah.
I would like to see some improvement in the face-offs, though. I don't know if you want to talk about that, but the Kraken have not been very good face-off teams, and I'm going to pop up a couple of comments here as we chat about some of the situational face-off type of stuff going on.
Definitely, yeah, I agree. Our face-offs are our weakest point in our power play right now. Hot take there. I'll keep it spicy here. Don't worry.
All right.
But
I bring pretty vanilla takes most of the time, but that's just kind of who I am.
That's all right. No, teach their own. But I'm looking here, and our top face-off percentage is Jaden Schwartz, and then we got Turbo, Jordan Eberle, Yanni Gord, McCann, and then Beniers, Geeky, Wenberg, Bjorkstrand, Wright, Donato, and Burakovsky. Well, I guess because Burakovsky has like 0%, so I think he hasn't taken a face off yet. But I would I think there was a video. Was it recently that the Kraken posted a video, or somebody got a video? It might have been a fan of them working on face-offs at the community complex during practice, which I think was great. And Shane Wright was in that mix too.
Which
was really good to see him there. Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing it a lot. I see like ECH, they post a lot of stuff, Sound of Hockey. You see it almost every practice. They're working on face-offs afterwards.
Oh, for sure. And shout out to ECH, by the way. I've been reading a lot of their stuff. They're great.
They're awesome.
A lot of all these Kraken crews are awesome. So, but yeah, I also, I saw it against the Canucks. I don't know if it's a consistent issue, but when we're in the offensive zone on the power play, I think we need to move the puck around a little bit more. And to the point where, yes, I might be comparing it a little bit to the Lightning power play, where you're constantly moving it around and you don't know who's going to shoot. Stammer looks like he's teed up for a one-timer, but he might be passing it. Cooch looks like he's about to do that. He might not be doing that. Brain point in the bumper spot is, just to get some rebounds or get a goal. It's very effective, and I would like to see the Kraken do something of that sort.
That unpredictability, right?
Yes, you need that. And because on the power play, special teams is interesting because the whole concept of it, you think because you have a power play, you are basically guaranteed a goal, but you're not. And you have to work for that. And I think that with today's game and the way it's faster, it's and the players that are succeeding are the unpredictable ones. So I think that if we have an unpredictable power play, where it could be Burakovsky taking a one-timer or Bjorky taking a one-timer, or just anybody moving it around, and just you don't know who's going to shoot. And when we do take that shot, either get a rebound or get a goal, that's the way to go.
I like to describe it as multiple threat vectors, and that sounds way over the top. Yes. But
sounds pretty cool though.
You think about the angles that they want to set up from. You do need that kind of different look. You can't just do the same one-timer over and over. And I think they're finding that cross ice, that seam pass that Burakovsky has been able to find, pretty impressive stuff. But Yeah, I'm with you. Same page. It sounds like keep the puck movement, feed the pucks to the net. Don't be too picky, especially tonight. Just going to highlight some more
Yes.
comments here. They did say, Brian and Greg pointing out that the Penguins did lose last night 5-1. So thanks for the update on that. Striatic,
Thank you.
I think, let's see here. When he goes deeper, it's often to support a board battle, which isn't a high leverage shooting situation. And he isn't very good at board battle. I think he's still talking about Shane Wright here. Striatic, great mind for hockey. I want to have him on the show someday too. He's a
That would
great
be great.
contributor
Oh,
for a
yeah.
couple of different channels, but great comments today. And it's good to kind of see the banter back and forth. Jim's got his take on it. Striatic's got his take on it. So kind of keep an eye on these things as it plays out. I like Brian's comment too here. Tanev, Gordon, Kuhlman, the Tasmanian Devil line. That's kind of got a good ring to it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I love that. I love that. That's a great nickname. Hopefully it catches on.
Yeah.
See if we can kind of spread that around.
I'll hashtag that. Greg saying, being from Virginia, I can't stand the Penguins. Yeah, I'm not a huge Penguins guy either, but you got to respect what they bring to the table.
I actually have my Uncle George, shout out to my Uncle George and cousin Georgie, his son. Their family's big Penguins fans. They're living in Pittsburgh and huge Penguins fans. So, I haven't been able to chat with them yet about this, but it's definitely a little rivalry there that I can't stand them either for a lot of different reasons. And then having it in the family is kind of fun, though.
Yeah.
It always makes it interesting,
Oh,
in family rivalries. So
keeps it very lively that way. I kind of grew up
for
same
sure.
thing. My dad was a Canucks fan and I was a Sharks fan, so it's always good. Wookie saying, please beat the. I think this user is trying to say Penguins, but type Pigeons, so that's okay too. I would like to, yeah.
The Pigeons and the
out.
Penguins, yeah.
We don't hold people. There's no penalty here for typos. I don't care. It's totally fine. Ty saying
the amount
pins.
I've had, yeah. The amount I have when I write a tweet, it's. I think I spelled Jaden Schwartz's last name wrong when I first reacted to his goal the other night. If someone wants to dig in my tweets and find that.
I've had some doozies
I was like,
as
Jaden
well.
Schwartz with the spin rim, and I had it completely wrong. It's a hard last name, though. I don't know. What do you think, Mike?
Sorry, I got distracted by the chat here. What was the question?
No, I was just saying that Schwartz it's not an easy last name to spell, or is it just me getting used to it?
No, it is. I have trouble with that every time I'm typing it in. I don't know if it's just my autocorrect tries to get in my way or. The other thing too with the Seattle Kraken hashtag, for whatever reason, I stumble through that every single game. I need to just create a little template tweet and not even worry about it. But yeah, the struggle is real, right?
Oh, 1,000%.
Saying Finns have some generational talent. It's going to be tough tonight. Last place on faceoffs. We absolutely need to improve there. Yeah, it's not been good, and I know they're working on it. So hopefully they kind of trend up. But if you want to be a possession team, you got to win faceoffs to further that, right, Nick?
1,000%. Yeah. No, sorry, I'm laughing too with the comments here.
Jim C saying time to pounce. They looked the Penguins looked tired and beatable on this road trip. They weren't in the game at all last night in Vancouver. So, big opportunity for the Kraken tonight to try to get back in the win column against a pretty good team from back east.
Very solid team. That's going to be a very big ego boost for the whole team. We need that right now.
Yeah.
So definitely Jim. Hopefully we can take that. We can pounce on that.
Jim saying Heinen will have about 50 family members in the crowd. He's from Lower Mainland BC, and they always show up anywhere remotely close. So that's cool. The family aspect, seeing guys get in the lineup. I do need to go look and see what the Kraken lineup's going to look like tonight. I rely on the professionals. Probably not yet, but it seems like around noonish is kind of when you find things out. But I will have to take a look. Greg pointing out our PK and faceoff percentage has to drastically improve if we want to compete for a playoff spot, and that's another great point. Special teams are such a huge factor in the NHL. It's not just a cliche; it is reality. And they're going to have to clean those areas up, right?
1,000%. 1,000%. That we really need to. Even the power play, even though we're fifth in the league, we can improve on that. The fact that we're fifth and we have room for improvement is should be very good for Kraken fans to hear and to know. But yeah, the PK's got to clean up.
Right.
Literally, we got to clean up those pucks out of our zone and yeah, just got to see how we do that. I don't, you know, I face offs as well. I think in our zone. What are we looking at there, Mike?
In our zone,
For on the PK, yeah, on the PK, yeah.
I don't have that number as far as face-offs on the PK, and I should because like I look at this all the time, but like on the spot, I'm kind of like I don't know,
Oh,
but
sorry, yeah, I didn't mean to
can't
put you on the
imagine.
spot there.
Oh no, it's good. I can't imagine it's very good. It's probably around 30 or 40%. Is just off the top of my head guess because they're usually right around 40, 35, 40% most games overall. So I would bet on the PK, since they haven't performed real well on the PK, it's probably in those lower 30s percentile wise. But yeah, we can take a look at that. We can banter on Twitter later today. I got nothing
Oh,
else
for
going on.
sure.
Okay, so a couple more comments here. And yeah, Ty saying, as reported by ECH, the face-off work, definitely a thing that is happening. So we're going to hope that they can kind of improve that. I love the guys over at ECH too. Yeah, big fan. I get to, hang out with those guys every now and then on, we
Oh,
did the
nice.
trivia battle. I got to meet RJ the other day at the arena. So I'm a huge fan of them as well. And we do have some plans for some things in the future, keeping that trivia battle tradition going between the podcast groups. So keep your eyes
Nice.
out on that. It's going to be a little while, but yeah, it's definitely going to keep happening. So I know there's some curious minds in that area. Jim C pointing out Riley Shahan was 8% difference in face-off percentage, and right, so he's not here with us this year. So that is kind of a big loss as far as
Yeah.
face-off contributor. Good point by Jim C. Yeah,
Thank you, Jim, for that.
you guys are all really smart. I'm really glad you logged into the chat.
Honestly,
That's the great
they
thing
help
here.
us keep it going. You know.
I know we've got such a great community that's kind of building out here, and I think it's a really welcoming community too. Like there is a lot of new people that have no clue what's going on, and that's totally fine. I think that's how you grow the game, right?
1,000%. No, 1,000%, and I love it. I shout out to Mike Loreno, Nerdy Mike on Twitter.
Yes.
He big welcomer into the community. I don't know if that's a word, but he welcomed me with open arms, and we're buds and we're nice friends, and he's great. And then everybody that I've spoken to, there's a Yanni for Captain
Mm-hmm.
Twitter account. Shout out to them as well. Everyone's just super nice, and it's a very welcoming hockey community and sports community in general, especially with the Mariners recently. So, yeah, and I love. I don't know. I kind of jumped on the. I wouldn't say it's a bandwagon with the Kraken since they're so new, but it's always nice to see people come together. And if it's a new thing, you have, like you said, you have the veterans who've been, like you and your dad who've known hockey, your whole lives, and then you have, people jumping in new, and then it's great. You
Yeah.
got to grow the game somehow. So
Yeah, and it's fun to kind of reach out like we've talked about here through the stream. Cross coast, that's awesome too. Obviously the time difference can be a little frustrating at times, I'm sure, but yeah, Striatic, definitely would love to have you on. Brian, I'm gonna have you on. We're gonna recap your experience out at Climate Pledge Arena for the first time there. So really great. This community continues to build. We've got positive momentum. I think the Kraken have a great future ahead of them. Fairs Muthana also asking, where can you find these analytics? So a few of the sites that I roll through, Hockey Reference, Hockey DB, Cap Friendly. Nick, you guys have a great resource there, Inside the Rink. I don't know if you want to tack on a
yeah.
few, but there's you got to get out there, Google it. I can leave some additional links in the description here later on once I log out, but they're out there. And also we have a great coverage group here in Seattle, Allison Lucan. She has just an amazing mind for hockey, the analytics approach that she has. So dial in to the official Kraken coverage as well, because it is through the roof as far as being a new market. We're really, really lucky. I don't know if you got a couple
sure.
extra you want to throw on there, Nick.
Yeah, I definitely Cap Friendly is a big one, a Hockey Reference. And then also the Inside the Rink, we have our own analytics. We're working on expanding it, but we do have our own there. So definitely check that out as well. After Kraken coverage, we have two writers, myself, and I gotta find his name. I'm so sorry,
Okay.
but I'll find him. But we definitely have our coverage there for analytics as well. Make sure to check that out. But I love using Hockey Reference, and cat friendly because it's really well put together, and someone like myself is getting really like is new and getting into the journalism thing. I can really kind of helps me understand it.
Yeah.
So
Bear's also saying I still don't understand hockey, and that's totally fine. What
1000%.
I would encourage, just watch the game, watch the flow, and enjoy it. Find a couple of players that you really like watching and focus on them and what they're doing, and just kind of start to understand the flow of the game, and then how the rules work here and there. And as you build that knowledge, then you'll start to see some of those nuances and intricacies jump out at you, like maybe the line changes at certain times, or the situational play, or the special teams play, and you just kind of build your knowledge. That's at least kind of how I remember getting into it as a kid. Just at first is like, oh, what colors do I like? Which team? Okay, that's the team. Oh, which players do I like? Oh, that's the player, and build it from there, right, Nick?
That's 100% what I did. I can Stamkos, Steven Stamkos is one of those players for me. There's several, but Tuukka Rask, David Pastrnak, Patrice Bergeron. There's a bunch of those guys that I started out watching them, and then like you said, you look for those nuances, and then also you find other players too. As you watch more and more, you're like, wait, now I like this player because I like what they're doing here. That's similar to maybe a player I like already or something new. But Ty Jacobs with the interesting, it's not all about stats. But stats help. Stats help to understand things. I'm new to stats, I have to say. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm new to stats. So for me, it's still learning it. But I've up until recently been enjoying it, hockey as a non-stats person, just kind of what I see on the ice and like, all right, cool. But
I will say it's definitely a place you can hang your hat and take the emotion out of things. Like if you watch a game, you're really frustrated about something, or you think maybe the opposite end of that spectrum where like, man, they were really, really good in this area just from, your eye or what you felt. But then you go back that up with statistics and metrics that associate to that area. And, maybe they did pass the puck really well on the power play, but they didn't score for 5 games. So, you got to kind of ground yourself a little bit with those metrics. Triadic pointing out Natural Stat Trick is a site that Allison references a lot. So that's a really good one. Thanks for chiming in on the chat, everybody, today. Nick.
Chat's very lively.
Yeah, it's been great. This has been a really fun stream. We're just over an hour here. Kind of want to ask you a couple fun questions and then log out for the day, because I got to get ready and figure out if I'm going to be able to even make it over to the game. So thanks again, everybody in the chat. If you haven't hit the like button already, go ahead and hit that like button right now. Helps the stream, helps the channel, helps Nick out as well, get exposure, being somewhat new in the journalistic profession there with Inside the Rink. So we appreciate all the support. So Nick, a couple of fun, I call this the dad moment of the show. A couple of Halloween questions, right? And I asked Zach and Bailey. I was on their show. What was it, last week over at SurgeCast? Great show, by the way. Okay, so we started off. What is your go-to fun size candy bar for Halloween?
Ooh, I'm gonna say a Kit Kat.
Ooh.
Absolutely love Kit Kats. So yeah, even fun size, I'm gonna go with a Kit Kat. I mean, there's only a certain amount you can take until you're like, all right, let me save this for later.
Yeah.
For any fun size bar, but I'd say a Kit Kat, and a close second would be Reese's peanut butter.
There it is. There's my guy, Reese's.
For sure.
Woo! Yeah, we were all unanimous on the Reese's last week, so that's good.
Oh, nice. Okay,
next one.
Kit Kat is just like a childhood thing. I've always loved Kit Kats. So.
I do love Kit Kat. Kit Kat and Twix, also top notch.
Oh yeah, 1000%.
Fair saying, which Kit Kat flavor? Oh, there's different flavors. I forgot about that.
For me, I'd say, if we're going fun size, I'd do classic, but I do like to mix it up. If we're having a little small one, I'll do like maybe a white chocolate one. I did used to fun fact. I used to work at It's Sugar. Sorry, it's a candy company that they sell. It has like all the bins, and you put candy in the bag and you weigh it and you pay for the pound and stuff. Yeah. So we had a really cool I think it was a couple Halloweens because it's been a while. It's been a while, but there was a couple of mints on the bottom of the part of the Kit Kat, and the top was it's a dark chocolate, which is a really nice combo. So if you guys find that, I think it comes around Halloween. or maybe it's year round now, but I don't know what it's called. I think it's like a mint dark chocolate Kit Kat flavor. Definitely check it out for sure.
I know which one you're talking
Almond
about.
Joy.
I don't know what the name of it is, but I know exactly what you're
Yeah, I
talking
never knew
about.
the flavor. Yeah, I
Mint
never knew the
chocolate
name.
Kit Kat. Becca's saying mint chocolate Kit Kat.
That one's great. But also the shout out there for the Almond Joy. I
Oh,
growing
yeah.
up, I loved those. This was my favorite to get in my trick or treating bag was the Almond Joy.
Gregory
Love that.
Gregory on the Reese's is second. Crackle Nestle Crunch is third. Okay.
Ooh,
I had
nice.
the blueberry muffin one last night. Oh, I've never had that.
That sounds good. It's interesting.
One more quick one here. What's your, not that, you know, you don't have to be dressing up, but if you were or are, what's your Halloween costume this year? And maybe what's your girlfriend's? Because I know you said you have, or wife or girlfriend. I'm sorry if I'm mistaken there, but what's the Halloween
costumes? Might as well be a wife, but it's a girlfriend. But yeah, we wanted to do our it's our second Halloween together, but we wanted to do a couple's costume, and I think it's a little too last minute to do it now, but we didn't have an idea, so can't answer in terms of brainstorming. We didn't get that far, but
that's okay.
Yeah, but I'd say off the top of my head, for individual costume, I'm a big Star Wars fan. I don't know if you guys can see like Obi-Wan right over here. And Marvel, I got Korg and Khonshu from Moon Knight. I don't know. I think a really cool Star Wars costume, maybe like Boba Fett or something, with the new helmet and all the gear.
All right.
I don't know. But in terms of couples costume, off the top of my head, I'd say Jack and Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Classic.
Very nostalgic film. Yeah, classic. And yeah, I don't know. Yeah, just off the top of my head there.
That's great.
But yeah. Fun fact though, I did dress up as a hockey player for Halloween in 2020 after Lightning won the cup. So that was fun.
Okay, that's always fun going as a hockey player. I think I did that one. I don't think I was a specific player. I just dressed up in the gear, but
oh no, same. Yeah, I was right after Lightning won the cup, so I just kind of had like my Lightning jersey and like my gloves and stuff, and I was working too, so I had this stick and I would use it to point at people like, oh, don't touch that, or grab that, or it was kind of fun.
But, generally speaking, when you go as a hockey player, you're the smelliest person at the party, so that's also not great. But
yeah, that's true.
Ty pointing out, why do nerds like hockey so much? Most of us are such nerds. Yeah,
that's true.
Total geeks.
Yeah.
Me and my co-host over here would agree with you, Ty. Right up over here, Mr. Skeleton is back there hanging out today. But
that's awesome.
Brian going as an NHL penalty box official, just wear a suit, take notes, and pretend to not notice anyone around me. That's good, Brian. All right, Nick, this has been a lot of fun. If you want to maybe just a couple of shout outs as we log out here, any promotions or things you want to put out there before we log out for the night, for the evening,
for sure,
for the morning.
One more time, I just want to shout out my family that are in the stream, in the chat. Wookie, Misha, CK, different accounts, but I know mom, dad, and my siblings are there watching. So shout out to them. Shout out to my girlfriend who's also watching as well, despite being in the same room as me. Shout out to the family for supporting me through this crazy dream, and my friends and all that. In terms of hockey stuff, definitely check out Inside the Rink for all your hockey news and content around the league. We have reporters in every division, and we're always looking for more. So if you guys know anyone who wants to write or who wants to join the team, we're always looking to expand. We're expanding our YouTube content as well. I'm gonna shout out to again Nick, the Penguins writer, for helping me out with my notes today and giving me some insight into our matchup tonight. And Connor Green, Bruins fan and Bruins legend, and Andrew, heads of Inside the Rink. They're awesome. Definitely check them out. They got some great takes, and for any team, they really know their stuff. So if you ever want to chat it up with them on Twitter, and I'd say also one last thing is Luca Prito, who's one of our sorry if I mispronounced that, but he is going to be working. We're working on something that looks like it's going to be a little podcast coming,
cool.
poking around, coming soon. Yeah. So we don't have a date yet. We don't have but ETA is definitely going to be at some point this season, whether it's halfway through or a little bit after. So
Okay.
be on the lookout for that. We'll be covering the whole league from an East Coast perspective. So that should be interesting. But yeah.
Excellent. Well, if I don't have it in the description already, I will shortly after the stream. So everybody listening, go give Nick a follow on Twitter and check out the content over at Inside the Rink. Great group. Nick, it has been an absolute pleasure today. I am going to just have you kind of log out behind the scenes as we go to break or, log out here. Just want to say thanks again, and let's do this again soon, okay?
I'd love to, definitely. And thanks to everybody in the chat as well for contributing and keeping it rolling. It was really fun. And thank you again, Mike. It was awesome. Definitely looking forward to doing this again. So go Kraken.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, if you just want to sign out on the Zoom call, I'll talk to you on Twitter here in just a little bit, okay?
Sounds good.
All right, thanks Nick.
Guys.
All right, so that was Nick Krell from Inside the Rink. Fantastic interview. Great guy. Really good to get to know him. And like Nick said, thanks again, everyone, being in the chat today, chiming in, giving us your opinions on hockey and Halloween candy. It was a lot of fun. Absolute pleasure. Love bringing these episodes to you guys. Try to do them on the weekends, every Saturday, every couple of weeks. Just kind of depends on the schedule of everything. But if you don't follow already, hit me over on Twitter at Sasquatch NHL. Just a reminder, I'm going to have this episode of Morning Cup of Kraken available on your favorite podcast app here not too long after the show. So if you just want to listen, go follow and rate over there. And if you're just listening on the podcast and you haven't enjoyed watching the live stream on YouTube, just join one of the live streams in the future. Try it out. Hop over here, join the chat with the community. Kind of adds to your visual experience here at Sasquatch NHL. Always trying to do new things, keep things fresh and interesting for you guys on the stream. I do try to go live after most Kraken games. I do a show called Post Game Rapid Reaction. I'm going to try to be live tonight, so catch up with me on Twitter for updates there. Regular content updates, video, YouTube shorts. I've started doing a little bit more of that. So it's just great to be part of the community and growth and keep improving the channel, having guests like you guys in the chat and Nick Krell onto the show. It's been a lot of fun. So before you log out, do me a huge favor. If you haven't hit that like button already, go ahead, do that. Hit subscribe, turn on alerts so you know when I go live. I do appreciate the support. It's been a great morning, you guys, and I was very pleased and very thankful to spend a portion of it with you today. I can't wait to see the Kraken and how they perform tonight, and a big thanks again to Nick Krell from Inside the Rink. That's going to do it for me this morning, you guys. We'll catch you later on another stream real soon.